Hey Moon Lovers, welcome to All Things Moon, Lunar Wisdom for Everyday Life. I'm Kelly Jones and I'm really excited to be sharing 30 plus years of teaching and guiding spiritual well-being. I figured I must have some wisdom to share with you all by now. As a Moonologer, Astrala Yoga guide, and an astrologer in training, I'll be sharing all the things that save me from this crazy world we find ourselves in, and hope that in some way I can serve you in your life too. Hey Moon Lovers, welcome to Lunar Wisdom for Everyday Life with myself, Kelly Jones, and apologies for being away for so long. I almost thought I wouldn't get this recorded today, right down to the nth degree on a Sunday. I had to record this in a different room in the house today, and I set myself up. And then they started drilling in the street outside. So I have been off to deliver my niece's 12th birthday present, and we have been over to collect our water from the natural spring where we get all our drinking water from for ourselves and for all our animals. And I am back and finally getting back to it. So where have I been? So if you listened to the last episode, I told you I had a really busy time coming up. So we did a sound healing at a new festival called Green Oaks Gathering, which was at Ely in Cambridge in the UK. Fantastic. It was super windy because it is really, really flat as a pancake in Ely. But aside from the wind, such a well organised festival. It was very relaxing to be at because we knew exactly where to go, what to do, people to help. And it really does make a difference when you are, I suppose it's like a band performing, when you are going to be on stage, which we were on stage there. And they made it really easy for us, really welcoming, and we had a really great time. And then literally we came back from there. We had one day's very hard working in the wind and the rain in the UK, hailstones and everything. So we were gardening all day. And then at 5 o'clock the next morning, or 5:30 the next morning, we left to go to Italy for 10 days. And we had a fab time, all varieties of weather in Italy as well. It seems to be that you can't run away from the weather, and actually all of that ties in very nicely with the upcoming full flower moon in Sagittarius, because in doing my research, one of the lines that I saw was the grass is not always greener. And yeah, we had a little bit of a lesson in that. And being that we are both Sagittarius rising here, we always look for something to be glad about, something to be positive about, something to be optimistic about even in the challenges. So I'll tell you more about that as we go on. So yes, we had 10 lovely days in Italy, 3 different locations. We flew into Pisa and we stayed in Lucca for 3 nights. Had a lovely Airbnb apartment there. I absolutely love Lucca. I could definitely live there. And we have friends there that we were visiting. And then we took a train down to Florence. Florence was a little bit of a soggy flop because it rained a lot when we were there. But we still got to take in some sights and have a nice rest in a lovely 4-star hotel. for the night, and then we took a train down to Rome, or up to Rome, and stayed with our friends who live in a beautiful place that's about 600 meters above Rome. So you can see Rome from where we were staying. You can see right across, see the whole of Rome from the distance in a dormant volcanic crater. And it was nearby, what the nearest place nearby that anybody would have heard about would be Frascati. So you may have drunk some of that wine. I know I liked that wine when I was younger. And we had a beautiful day in Rome. The weather changed for us, so we got some sunshine in. So we got nature time, we got art. We took in 3 art exhibitions, and we had a really great time. But we also were staying with friends who had a little toddler who is going through his most terrible phase. So that kind of wasn't relaxing. And when I said about the grass being greener, they live in this beautiful house up in a volcanic crater in Italy, surrounded by beautiful things with Rome in the distance. But, personal human challenges wherever we go. And actually, by our last night there, we were quite sort of looking forward to coming back to our own home, which is a really great gift that we were given. Yes, it was quite slightly stressful and challenging for some of the time that we were there. But, one of the things that we've been sort of wanting, and that place of limbo when you want to move to somewhere else because you don't really want to be where you are anymore, but you can't find that place. So you end up not doing anything with the place that you're in, but you're also not in the place where you want to be. So you end up in this kind of limbo land. And it did help us to decide that, do you know what? Actually, it's not all bad. We really should appreciate what we've got, where we are, and let's make what we've got as close to what we want as possible whilst we're here. And maybe, just maybe, we will, letting go of that sort of wanting something that's never happening, letting go of that and making a decision might help in the future for something better to come along. So one of the Sagittarius traits is always, fear of missing out, always looking for the next thing. They'll have grand plans and great ideas, and then all of a sudden they will just, right, I've done that, almost there. I think I'll just think about the next great thing and not really embrace the moment where they are. So that is one of the lessons that we learned on our trip away. And then no sooner had we got back that we were straight back into work for a few days with, variety of different types of weather again, full on rain in our waterproofs. And then the sun started to come back out, and it's gradually got a bit warmer since then, since we've been back. And very sadly, the same week that I was back, well, in fact, the day before I left for Italy, I found out that a friend of mine had tragically passed away way too soon, way too young, younger than me. She was, a great gift to the world, and I had been there in part of her healing journey to help her feel better throughout her struggles. And I had that news before I went away, so there was kind of that lingering thing underneath. And when I got back, there was a beautiful ceremony for her when I got back. So by the time that was over, it came to the Friday, and I was on to the Yoga Wild Woman retreat, where I held a beautiful moon ceremony. So that week is the week of the new moon in Taurus. And so I was holding ceremony based around the new moon in Taurus energies. And whenever I hold a moon ceremony, I always, even if it's online, imagine that we're in circle, but at the retreat, we're actually sitting in circle in person with my altar out and this beautiful tent covered in gorgeous different coloured saris in amazing Moroccan cushions, and the weather was fantastic. And as I called in the quarters, I always one of the things that I say is to call in the star nations and the mysteries that lie in between. And that same evening, we were treated to the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, in the sky in Essex in the UK. Who would have believed it? So it was just like heaven came down to earth for a couple of hours. Um, None of us knew that it was likely to happen, so it was a complete surprise to everybody there. And I had encouraged people during the moon ceremony to go outside and check out the beautiful crescent moon that was just appearing in the sky very clearly. We were in the countryside on a farm, so we had a lot of space, so there was a lot of sky, no light pollution, so really, really clear. You could see all the stars, all the constellations, and these amazing pink and green, and oh gosh, it was just fantastic. So a really, really well deserved time for myself and for all the women that were there and all the people that took part. Really fantastic weekend of yoga and dancing and sacred fire ceremony. And we went foraging on a foraging talk. We had this wonderful guy come and talk about the art of presence. And gosh, what else? I mean, there were stalls with beautiful things to buy, crystals, and just sisterhood and connection with other women. And, in my earlier days, in my younger years, as I've got older, this has got easier, but in my younger years, being around other girls, other women was always quite difficult for me. I always felt a little vulnerable, a little threatened by how women can be with each other, maybe resentful, jealous, bitchy, all that kind of stuff. And, I know that the world is changing, because this event, we had up to 60 women over the weekend, and there just wasn't an ounce of that feeling. We were just celebrating each other, supporting each other, and connecting with each other, and laughter and dance, music. We had live music, we had a band, we had a DJ, female DJ. It was just fantastic. So anyway, I shall stop raving about what a great time I've had, but you've been wondering where I've been, and that's where I have been. And finally settling into some kind of normality, although just recording this podcast today, I'm sitting in a different room and I've got a different setup. And I think that was part of the new moon in Taurus, was to look at our habits and to see if our habits can be limiting. So a habit of mine with my inner Virgo perfectionism. So my moon is in Virgo, and it is quite annoying because it makes me want to do everything perfectly. So doing these podcasts, I have a little routine, a setup that I like to have, so I feel in the right place to be able to give to you. And what that does is that limits me as to when I can record this podcast, because I like to have the house to myself and be in a certain room, and just limiting. So for those of you who might have watched some of the videos on YouTube, I'm not recording that at the moment. So that's kind of been a different thing as well, that I haven't had to set up my ring light and my camera. So I'm literally just me and my podcast mic here, my lovely red pop filter podcast mic that inspired me to start this in the first place. And I'm sitting upstairs in my bedroom, and I am breaking something that was getting in my way, and that was having the house to myself. So I'm finding different ways of doing the same thing. And some other things to tell you about manifesting. So you might remember way back in February when I decided to go to Egypt. So if you want to go back in some of my podcast episodes, you'll hear about my trip to Egypt and what happened, and that I pressed the button at 22:22. My finger was hovering, making a decision, and the time was 22:22, and that helped me to decide to press the button. And the moment that I did that, opportunities started to arise. It was like as if I'd broken some kind of seal on something that was getting in my way. And whilst I was out in Egypt, I actually saw a girl on my last day wearing a sweatshirt with the number 2222 on it. And so I've kind of used that number in various different things now. And when we went to this Green Oaks gathering, the first thing that happened when we got there is we had a VIP wristband put around our wrists, and we were told that we were on the main stage. And I wish I could show you a photograph of this. I might post it up on my social media pages so you can see it on my All Things Moon group on Facebook. Is probably a good place to put it. But when we came back, I said to Tom, look at my vision board. And this vision board I had done on a vision day, Get Clear on Your Vision Day, which I had booked for myself because I didn't think I was going to go to Egypt. But on that day, it actually ended up that I was going the next day. I actually ended up doing both. And I was quite preoccupied with my trip to Egypt. So I kind of half-heartedly did this vision board, really. And then I came in and looked at it. And there is a picture of a main stage on this vision board. And it is almost identical to the stage that we had just been on, with our VIP wristbands on. And above the photograph I've got on the vision board of this stage is the words Rising Stars. And I just thought that's so funny because, I just liked those words. I cut them out, I stuck them on there. But look at us two, with our VIP things on the main stage. So, you never know how it comes. So that was a fun thing. And also on that vision board, I had the words that I'd cut out and stuck on there saying stargazing welcome. And also a photograph of a lady halfway up a ladder in a ball gown in this room that was full of books. And the same festival, this Green Oaks festival, I actually had to climb up a ladder to see through this giant telescope that a lovely guy that I know called Astro Pete Smith, he had built this telescope so that you can do stargazing. And I was like, wow, that was a really fast manifestation. And then I came back from this retreat at the weekend, last weekend, and I looked at the board again, and can you believe it? On there is a picture of the Northern Lights, of the Aurora Borealis. And not only that, it says Northern Lights on it, and it has got the number 22 on that picture. Wow. So can't recommend doing a vision board without giving it too much importance, too much, like banking too much on it. Just do it, shove it in the corner and leave it there and see what happens, because that is what has happened. So, when I get the check for £777,000, I'll let you know, because that's going to be a brilliant episode, isn't it? So on the subject of abundance, we have a full moon in Sagittarius coming up on the 23rd of May. In the UK, it will be at 14:53, so that's 2:53 p.m., when it will be at its fullest. And the words to describe a Saggy full moon is the big picture, daring, and the word dreamy. And that word dreamy is because some of the aspects that are going to be there at the same time as this full moon. So just after the full moon on the 23rd, the planet Jupiter, which has been traveling through Taurus, will be entering the sign of Gemini. So we really are going to have another energetic shift there, a change in energy, because Taurus is very, what I would say, slow growth. Jupiter expands everything, but Taurus is a slower pace. So we have had what I would describe as slow growth. And once it moves into Gemini, I think, things are going to speed up quite a bit. So Jupiter is going to be at this full moon at the critical degree, which is the 29th degree, which is the last degree of Taurus. And alongside, so Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius. So that expansiveness, that optimism, the positive energy, the abundance of Jupiter is available for us there if that's where we choose to look. And also at the same time, the ruling planet of Taurus, the planet of beauty, of money, of values, how we value ourselves, our self-worth, is there. The planet Venus is there with Jupiter at that 29th degree as well. So these are the planets of goodwill and prosperity, and they really are giving, sort of a captivating and celebrating energy to this occasion. Also, those planets, so the word dreamy comes in because those planets are going to be what we would call sextile. So that is, like we have trines and squares, which can be challenging. A sextile is a good aspect. And they are going to be sextile to Neptune, the planet of enchantment. And so as Venus and Jupiter are just about to enter Gemini, these are the sort of things that we might want to ask ourselves if we do a bit of journaling around that full moon energy. So maybe what valuable lessons have I learned about love, that Venus love, and about things that truly matter in the end? What are my truest priorities? What do I hold in high esteem? What do I hold most important? What has it shown me during this time? What opportunities are right in front of me? And, you can also look back on what things have I achieved in the past year that are priceless, that can't be measured in the usual way that you would measure things. So they're all things to maybe sit and journal around on this full moon. What else can I tell you? So the full moon in Sagittarius kind of gives us a little peek ahead. Sagittarius love to do research. They love to discover the truth. They are the seeker. They are the bigger picture. They like to get a better perspective and understanding. So we can, in this full moon energy, kind of get a sense of what Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring us. With Jupiter is going to be there for about a year. So, Gemini being all about thought, information, options, choices, diversions and distractions. Will Jupiter being there expand all of those subjects? What new journeys are we about to embark on? So Jupiter is, with this Venus energy as well, it is a full moon that really, with those two planets being at the last side of Taurus and this full moon, so everything being expanded, Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius, it just smacks of excess, overindulgence, unbridled hedonism, reckless pleasure, sensual delights. And, I say don't hold back. Obviously don't overdo anything that's going to make you feel crap. But if it brings you pleasure and it's going to make you feel good, definitely go for it. So Sagittarius is the sign of excess. So, give yourself the gift of pleasure, but don't overdo it. Yeah, you don't want to be feeling rubbish. So I decided this afternoon, whilst I was over with the family, my sister-in-law, just as I was leaving, said to me, would I like these tarot cards that she had got, but was not going to use because it's just not really her thing. She loves to come to the things that I do, but she doesn't really use the tarot cards and stuff. So she gave me these. So I decided to pull a card just before I came on. And can you believe it? The Sun card came out. The Sun is the card of abundance. So it couldn't be more perfect for this energy coming up, an abundance of things, all things pleasure. And I'm just going to read out what it says here to you. At this time, everything is possible and everything I need to know is illuminated. Projects come to fruition, relationships flourish, and my growth is assured. This is a time of plenty. It's important that I share this abundance with others, and I am deeply grateful for it all. So I thought that was a fantastic card to come out of this lovely deck that I've been given as a gift. So I'm feeling abundant. I've received lots of gifts recently, so I really am feeling abundant. And if you would like to find out so much more detail about this full moon coming up, then on Wednesday evening, 22nd, I will be holding an online full flower moon ceremony in Sagittarius. So that will be on Zoom. You will be able to sign up for that if you go to my website, which is kellyjones.me. That's KELLIEJONES.me. And if you go to my All Things Moon group on Facebook, you'll find details there of that and other upcoming events. And I will share some of those photos of my vision board on there for you to see, just so you can know that I'm not a storyteller, I'm a truth teller, because I am a Sagittarius rising. So I'm really excited about this full moon and what it might bring. As my first house is in Sagittarius, that's where this moon will be showing up for me. So if you want to know which house area of your life it will be showing up for you, then please do join me online. It is only £11.11 to join, so it really isn't more than a few couple of coffees. And it really does help you to get to know yourself and just be a little bit more prepared for what's to come, and not miss out on some opportunities that might be there staring you in the face and you might just miss them. And this might highlight that for you. So again, I'm so happy to be back and can't wait to share more things with you. And I'm going to sign off now because it's time to go get some lovely Sunday dinner and have a nice indulgent glass of wine. So I will be back with you next week. Always release this on my Spotify and iTunes and Audible and YouTube Studio, and always on a Sunday, and then it comes out on TLC Radio on a Monday at 2:22 in the afternoon. So full moon blessings, and I'll see you all next week.